Up, everybody? It's your girl Rose Gold, and intimacy for me is the deepest form of honesty that you can have with a person. I think that intimacy is a journey, not a destination that you ultimately reach. And I think that over time, what intimacy means to you could change. For myself, for example, I know that at one point in time I thought that gifts meant intimacy. Then I thought that time meant intimacy. Then I thought that acts of service was intimacy. So I think that ultimately intimacy is a form of love and spiritual reassurance, and it can change over time.
Ever been left speechless by the ridiculousness of modern dating? Or maybe you're more old school. Yeah, like seriously, what were we thinking with those pickup lines in the 90s? This is I'll Explain All This Later, the podcast where we dissect the crazy world of relationships. From dating app disasters to in-law interventions, we'll cover it all. Now, some of our takes might be a little hot, but hey, that's what you get when you press play and tune in. We'll explain the logic behind it all. Eventually. Anyway, let's dive in.
Welcome back. Season 3. I'll explain all this later podcast. It's your boy Big Smash. Listen, I know it's been a while, and I know you kind of been hitting me up, asking me, wondering when we coming back. And I know we were supposed to come back March 3rd. We ended up taking another week to, really fine tune some things in the background. It's very important for me to do this. I love doing this. It's a passion. It's not a hobby anymore. It's a passion. It's interesting that, we kicked this season off with something that I really feel like I got to tap into. Tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about intimacy and the ways that we can go about expressing intimacy. I wanted to really jump into more relationship feeling topics. And so it's important. It's definitely important. So we're going to talk about it. All right, listen. How does intimacy apply to me? I'm going to give you the before, the after, and the future as to why this topic was picked for tonight's episode. Intimacy is a very difficult thing for me. Coming up in relationships, I ain't really want to be all touchy-feely and loving and caring and laid up and things like that. For me, intimacy was, you come over, we have relations, and then I go on about my day. I was like that in a lot of my relationships, and it wasn't something that, I was told. I didn't really have the relationship gurus around me. So a lot of things was different. Intimacy was something that I lacked. And I definitely did. I had a woman, and y'all are going to get a lot of stories from me this season. Every episode, I got a story as it relates to the topic. And I remember this woman, and she always used to tell me that I wasn't passionate enough for her. It was sex. It wasn't quality time. It wasn't, it's meaningful. Like it wasn't meaningful. Like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It wasn't, it didn't have that oomph, is what she would tell me. And, I thought, at that time, at that phase in my life, it was, because for me, I was into having sex. I didn't believe in the whole making love thing and, looking in your eyes and telling you you're beautiful and all that other good shit that, I've come accustomed to loving nowadays. But at that time, I felt like, she was just always looking for an exit or always looking for something to complain about. She wanted to be close to me. She wanted to be able to open up to me. And at that time, I didn't really give her the space to do so. She wanted to be able to be in a safe space and be able to tell me her deep, darkest secrets and her fears and things like that. And she just wasn't able to with me, you know. And so she wanted me to be there. She wanted me to be there for her doing the difficult things and not just when I wanted relations. And I'm not gonna lie, it was hard because again, I had never experienced these things. So it was a different it was a different pattern for me. I didn't understand what intimacy was. And I think it cost me in the long run because she ended up leaving. And then she ended up finding a man who she felt at the time could give her that extra dedication that she desperately needed. And I ain't gonna hold you. I didn't take that very well. I didn't take that very well. I still felt like for me, sex was all the intimacy that I needed, that she needed, that we needed. And I felt like it was okay because, you know, we okay. She wanted the holding hands and the hugging and the cuddling and the massages and the sitting close to each other and showing compassion and understanding and all that stuff. She wanted those things, and I just wasn't able to give it to her. And she ended up getting it from somebody else. I ain't take that too well. I didn't. I ain't gonna lie. It hurt when you lose your biggest freak. The aftermath of that was I learned to adjust my ways because they said that it takes that one person to that you're gonna miss for you to really understand what they were griping and what you felt they were complaining about so much. But if you had to really just listened, then it would have helped in the long run keep them. So now you have to take that lesson and bounce around to the next person. One of the things about intimacy is it's not just sex. All right? It's not just sex. Intimacy it can take many forms. You have the emotional intimacy, you know, like I said earlier, sharing your dreams, sharing your thoughts, sharing your fears, telling that person about the drama and the hurt and the happiness and the pain that you experienced all through your life, having that openness to express whatever comes to mind, having that space to push everything together because it's two of y'all. So y'all are working on that emotional connection, that emotional aspect. I'm big on active listening. That means giving your partner your undivided attention. That means listening and understanding and sympathizing and conducting yourself in a way that it's just you and that person and they feel like they're the only person that's in your thought process right now. You're paying full attention when they speak. You're listening, you're coming up with solutions as you're going along. See, that emotional intimacy is a little different. It vibes a little different. It touches your spirit a little different. I think what it was for me is I didn't believe in showing emotion. And that probably bit me in the long run because I should have been. I should have been more emotional. I should have been more understanding. Like even now to this day, I'm not the most understanding and emotional person, but I'm a lot more in tune with my feelings than what I was at 21, 22, 23, 24, 30. I'm a lot more in tune with my emotions because back then I wasn't. And that's what probably costed me this young lady. So I had a real tough time of validating feelings. Like your feelings are important. And it took me a while to validate feelings and validate understanding and validate, that person's emotions and what they were feeling about things that we were going through. It took me off a pedestal of hearing because at that point in my life, I felt like whatever you did, you did. Whatever I did, you did. And that's how I was moving in my relationships. And that's how I was moving in life. And it was scary. It was definitely scary that way. There were times that, my partners needed me to be there for emotional support. And I had the toughest time doing that because I'm going to be 100% with you. There were a lot of times that no one was there for me when I had to heal, or no one was there for me when I was going through things, or no one was there for me when I was grieving and things like that. So I had a really, really tough time trying to be there. I didn't know how to do it, and it took me a lot of therapy and a lot of lonely days and lonely nights to really fully dissect what really is emotional support. And it took me a while. It really did, because there are times that I didn't really know how to be emotional supportive because I was too busy cleaning up and dealing with my own issues and insecurities. So it took me a while to understand that sometimes you have to, just being there is enough support. You don't even have to have the words or the thoughts. Just being there is enough support. Sometimes you got to reassure your partner of everything that you're going through. See, reassurance is key when it comes to intimacy, because there may be some self-doubt, there may be some insecurities, there may be some things that they're going through internally, and your word means everything to them. Your words of affirmation, your words of love, your words of respect means something. So a lot of times the intimacy comes with you just encouraging and just, reassuring them that everything is going to be okay. We're down and out right now, but we're going to bounce back. I'm not giving up. I'm not letting you go. We got this. We're going to push through. That's genuinely what it is. We're going to push through. And I want to be able to push through, and I want to be able to get you to understand, and I want to be able for us to climb the walls of love and stay there. Plant our flag at the top of the mountain, because that's what's important. You got to express appreciation and gratitude for them coming into your life, them being around, them being in your life, them and everything that they do. See, one thing about me, it took me a while. I had a genuine thing where I didn't know who was being genuine with me. Were you around me just to be around me because of what I could do? Or do you actually love? Do you actually care? Do you actually sincerely want to be with me? And I had a lot of people who just didn't want to be with me for me. They wanted to be with me for what they felt like they could get from me. And for me, that was the toughest thing in the world I couldn't deal and adapt with it because I was scared. I was scared. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know how to appreciate good things. I choked it up. And I think the fact that I wasn't an intimate person caused a lot of that. So this is the before I knew what intimacy was. Now, if you're having some of these problems, don't worry about it. Big Smash is here to help you tonight. All right. So we went into the emotional intimacy. Now we're gonna get into the physical. See, for me, I had the toughest time of this part: holding hands, hugging, cuddling, giving gentle massages, sitting close to each other, looking in each other's eyes. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be next to you, touching and kissing and holding, and it be just that. Because if I'm doing all of that, then I'm definitely going to want to, clap some buns. It's just what it is. As I started moving towards my grown man phase of my life, I started realizing that, man, in order to truly obtain your grown man card, you gotta start actually doing grown man things. And at that time, I wasn't really doing grown man things because I was scared of, I had this complex where I have so many women here. I didn't care about losing one. So when I obtained my grown man card, right, I started doing my own thing. And what that means was I was into the holding of the hands and the cuddling and the rubbing of the shoulders and the hair and looking in each other's eyes and the quality time of ignoring the world and ignoring social media and things like that and focusing on my partner. Those are the things that drew me in. Like, I wanted to have that bond, have that relationship, because I knew, like, if I can do that, then I can master the sex will be that much more amazing, because I can just do these things and not want to have sex. And I'm not gonna lie, it was extremely difficult to be intimate, to be all of these things and not want to have sex was extremely difficult. It was a phase that was extremely tough because I was scared. I felt like, man, if I didn't have relations with this woman right here, right now, I wouldn't have the chance again. So whatever I had, whatever we're going to do, and I took advantage of it right then and there because tomorrow's not promised. It opened up the sexual aspect even more because once you can show your partner that, hey, I can be all up over you, I can kiss on your neck and rub on you and not want to fuck, it opens the doors up to a little bit of different things. And so for me, the passion was there, the love was there, the feelings was there, everything was there. So that connection level was a little different. It was scary because I was doing things that I wasn't accustomed to. I wasn't accustomed to just laying up. I wasn't accustomed to having a woman next to me butt ass naked and we didn't have to have relations. I wasn't into, you know, the massages and things. I wasn't into those things. But I think the reason why I wasn't into those things is because I was scared. I didn't know how to get into those things. So it was different. It was definitely different. I also realized that being next to someone is a different sense of comfort. I was sleeping a lot better because I had someone who was just next to me, who was just around. You get to having that feeling like, yeah, I want them around. I need them around. I got to have them around. They're interesting to me enough for me to lay here next to them all night. Because usually when I had relations with women that I had no interest in being intimate with or showing that level of intimacy with, it was once we were done, I was gone. But when I started wanting to stay, when I started wanting to be next to them full time, day in and day out, oh man, it was a different feeling. It was like, yo, I actually like this. This is actually comfortable. This is actually dope. I love this feeling. I love this. I gotta have this. This is all you. You touching me and I'm melting. I'm touching you and you melt. Oh man, this is a beautiful ass feeling. I gotta have it. It's more important. I gotta have it. Definitely. And you know what happens when you start doing sessions of that, just kissing and rubbing and touching and relaxing with each other, man. The doors of the sex opens up 100-fold because now they're more willing and they're more expressive. They're more open to doing, the leveled up shit. So that's how you get your grown man card when you're taking your time. You ain't rushing. You ain't acting like it's no tomorrow. You taking your time. You're putting a little pressure on her with your lips, your hands, your touch. Y'all in sync. Y'all are understanding each other on a deeper level. One thing I will say that when you're engaging in all these activities, safety is a good thing. And I ain't talking about safety in the physical. I'm talking about safety in the mental, in the emotional. I have to be super comfortable with you. I can't just engage into intimate desires and things like that with somebody that I just met yesterday. Doesn't usually work like that. Now, back in the day, it did. But new me, it's like, yeah, I want to have that vibe, that intellectual intimacy. So I need that from you. I need that intellectual intimacy first. Before we get to the physical, before we get to the emotional, let's have a conversation. Let's discuss. You can get turned on by a person's mind. Yeah, you can get turned on by a person's mind. Hearing your thoughts, hearing your ideas, hearing your values, engaging in stimulating debates. Like I'm a debating person. So I feel like once you can reach my mind and once I can have them deep, sensual, respectful, thought-provoking conversations with you, I feel like we gonna have a blast because I look forward to those type of things. I look forward to exploring new things together or exploring, certain values and certain uh beliefs together. You know, I don't want someone who's necessarily gonna agree with me. No, 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 no. Challenge me. Challenge me, get me to understand the things in a way that I fully didn't understand it. And if I can't understand it, then I tend to challenge it because I want to understand it. Don't just tell me anything or don't just believe whatever I say. Challenge it. Ask me questions. Ask me, what do I feel about this? Why do I feel this way? These are things that, and you got to remember too, right? You're learning from each other's knowledges and experiences. So that's going to help. You have to respect each other's opinions. Otherwise, it'll never work. I'm going to value your perspective, even if it differs from mine. I'm still going to value it because you're saying something that's important. To me, intimacy is about just being with each other, not changing for each other, just being yourself. The affection is there. The personal relationships are going to improve because intimacy is key. You got to have the emotional closeness, the physical closeness, the intellectual closeness, but then it's also the spiritual closeness. I believe in a certain way, in a certain level of life. I'm not against anyone else's opinions and levels of life. That's your opinion. I'll never try to throw my beliefs off on anybody else. We can be two different people who share different beliefs in the spiritual realm and still be cool. I'm not against you because what you believe in is what you believe in. What I believe in is what I believe in. So we'll mesh pretty well on that level because I tend not to get into debates about spirituality. But you got to understand that it is, intimacy is about creating a sense of connection and understanding with another person. And that's on every level. That's on every realm. Like, again, the emotional falls into the physical falls into the sexual falls into the mental falls into the spiritual. They all come together. It's the one thing that I believe that keeps all phases of the relationship together. And that's how it works. We keep everything together. Like, if we're on all four phases together, I don't know how we can be beat. Intimacy hit a little different. You know what I'm saying? Intimacy hits a little different when you actually like the person. You know what I'm saying? When they're telling you about the childhood, when they're telling you about fears that they've never shared with anyone, when they're telling you about their struggles with anxiety and trauma and things that they experience, you're comforting them after the loss of a loved one or you lost a loved one. You listen intently as they're telling you about their day at work or about, and listen, nobody loves work related gossip more than me because I be intrigued. I be knowing all about your coworkers and I ain't even there. I love that shit. Telling your partner you love them and not just telling them that you love them, but tell them why you love them. Tell them why you appreciate them. And you can write that in a letter. You can write that in a text. You can write that on a card. You can tell them that to their face. Intimacy has many different outlooks, many different ways. We could be cuddling on the couch watching a movie. I love that shit. I love movies. That's just something that's important to me. Holding hands, going out, taking a walk. PDA, beautiful part of intimacy is you're not afraid to express your love. And I'm not afraid either. I ain't gonna cap because my PDA turned into some other shit. But we're moving towards, doing that. Sometimes a hug from your partner when they're having the worst fucking day is a good sign of intimacy. You're gonna get the sexual aspect of that because you're gonna share and explore sexual desires. It's going to happen. It really is. And when it does, it's because everything else was clicking. Everything else was clicking. You can take a class together. You can, read the same book and give your thoughts and your insights about reading. I love reading. I haven't done it in a while. I haven't really read a good book lately, but I'm learning. I'm getting back to it, man. Podcasting is a day-to-day job. Yeah, just believing in each other, just giving each other that time, watching the sunset together, spending time in nature and getting one with nature. I talked about that before. You experiencing a moment of awe and wonder together. Like, these are things that can put you from, we could be a couple that just mess around from time to time, or we could be that couple that's together for good, forever, always. Intimacy is a little push. to get you to that. Because if I can connect with you on all of those levels, do you know how much fun and experience that we will have in this atmosphere? I had to get over the fear of letting someone else in my space. And as hard as that is, it's something that you have to do. It's something that you have to put together. It's something that you have to get together and you have to push for, because sometimes, you don't necessarily see it coming, but you need it though. You do. Intimacy is key, man. Like, listen, man, if you got a partner, man, get that partner everything you got. Because otherwise, you'll be looking on the outside, looking in, watching somebody else cater to your partner and be intimate in the ways that they wanted to be intimate. You find yourself, going through that phase where you shoulda, coulda, woulda. So now you just got to look and make more stronger and fulfilling relationships. And in order to do that, you have to come close. Come close, baby. Nas once said, hug me, don't reject me, and that's the way that you have to do it now. Come close. And there are going to be times that you don't feel like coming close, but for the better part of the relationship, you got to come close. Straight up. And I'll have an episode about being close and having that space. We'll talk about that this season. But listen, the takeaways I want you to get from this is intimacy is key. Don't be too afraid to come close to somebody, because you might end up pushing them away and watching them walk into the arms of someone else. Like me, I've been there. It's not a good feeling. Prevent intimacy issues while you're doing it. Don't wait until the last minute. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait until, one thing I will tell you, here's some quick hacks, right? Put away distractions and truly focus on your partner. Reflect back on what you have learned about your partner to ensure understanding. Whatever they're saying, whatever they're telling you, keep that in mind and keep that as a reel in your mind, because you're going to need to keep going back to the well sometimes just to keep it fresh. Always ask questions. Always ask, whatever it is they're telling or they're saying, always ask questions, because it gives you a deeper understanding. Share your feelings, share your fears, even when it makes you feel uncomfortable. Share it, because you might be helping out someone who can help you out when, times get hard. Create a safe space for your partner to do the same. We're going to share our fears together. Practice honest and transparent communication. All right. If you're not a touchy-feely person, still do it enough to ensure your partner that you are interested. Because sometimes if you're not hugging, kissing, and holding hands and all that stuff, they're going to get the message that you're not really into them. And they're going to start seeking that out from somewhere else. So even if it's a kiss a day or a hug a day or something like that, starting slow, make time for affection. Make time for physical contact. Make them moments clear, because they need that. And hell, you might need it too. Communicate your physical desires. Definitely communicate that. Communicate what you want, what you're missing out on, and then y'all come up with a way on how to work and get those physical desires set up. Plan regular activities that you both enjoy. Try new things together, create new memories. Focus on quality time, being in the present and in the moment. You're enjoying each other. You're feeling each other. You're having a good time with each other. These are things that I wish I had learned in my early 20s, that I'm now almost 40. I got my grown man card. So I'm learning some new things. Always remember to laugh with each other, laugh being around each other. Small, consistent actions can have a greater impact on the grand gestures. It isn't always about buying gifts. Sometimes it's just about being around your person. Intimacy should be consensual and respectful. Can't stress that enough. Don't push yourself up on me, because at the end of the day, that's going to run me away. Let's make sure, our boundaries are set and we can be intimate in a safe and comfortable fashion. Let's learn each other's love languages. Let's learn what each other likes and doesn't like, so we can learn how to put that together in one piece. These are things that, just simple things. It's not an end all be all when it comes to intimacy, but these are some of the things that you can parlay into whatever it is you're building. And I hope that it works out for you. Listen, Next episode of I'll Explain All This Later, we're going to talk about something that I should have talked about in season 1 or 2, but I'm going to talk about it in season 3. It's called You Are the Priority. You are the priority. And we're going to talk about that because I think a lot of people in these relationships, they lose focus because they don't necessarily feel like their partner is making them a priority. But if you're lacking from what you're getting from the world, never lacking what you can give yourself. Y'all already know what it is. I will see y'all next week.
Thanks for listening to I'll Explain All This Later. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And join us again next time for more outlandish takes on relationships and the dating life.